Good evening, everyone, and what a massive rally today. Nifty up 4%, almost close to 24,000. And to decode more about market today, we have a SEBI-registered research analyst, Mr. Arjit Garg. Arjit, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Pratham, and an awesome day today in the markets. Excited to share a lot of insights and excited to wrap up the entire market for our users today.
Perfect. Let's get started.
Right. Absolutely. So let's get started with let's begin with the wraparound of market. So what really happened today? So Nifty closed with a massive rally of 3.8% today, 3.78% actually, more than 800 points up, around 20, close near to 24,000. Sensex as well closed with massive gains of around 4%, almost 3,000 points up at 77,562. Almost all the sectors are up at least 5%, at least yeah, almost all the sectors are up at least 5%. We are seeing the top gaining sectors as auto. We have auto at almost 7% gains, bank nifty 5.6%, realty 7%, private bank 6%. All the sectors are in green. So it was a very positive and an amazing day. Like this is the day which about which the retailers were waiting for. Like when will be that day when we touch 24,000 again? When will be that day when we finally open our portfolios with a happy face? So today was that day, and a massive rally, and as we can see exactly opened at our level, closed at our level. 23,800 was a previously marked level. It was one of our resistance levels, but again nobody expected that the 5:30 a.m. Address of Donald Trump, like he would announce a ceasefire there. People were expecting maybe a nuclear war, maybe ground invasion, or maybe something serious about Iran. But it came all of a sudden a 2 week ceasefire, but with certain conditions that Strait of Hormuz will remain open for all of the countries. Iran has agreed to it. Now, again, there's a different geopolitical angle to it where Iran is claiming victory and all of that stuff, but that's different. That's not related to us. What we care about is ceasefire is there for at least 2 weeks now. So for the next 2 weeks, we can see that the markets would be finally stable and they would move based on technicals and fundamentals like they used to do before the war. Right? So this is like a 2 week break from the volatility and the entire tension that everybody was living in. So we've got a 2 week break from that. Right, so this is point number one. Now, second reason why the markets have rallied. Let me quickly open Brent crude over here so I can quickly show you the massive fall in crude as well. Uh, Here it is. Yes, look at this. Yesterday we were talking about maybe Brent crude reaching to 120 or its previous high of $119 per barrel. But today, now that the ceasefire is announced, Brent crude has fallen more than 10%, a straight gap down below $100. So this was the second reason which led to a massive rally in our markets. Third point, let's look at the globals here. If you look at the Asian peers, Nikkei has closed with gains of more than 5%. We have Taiwan almost 5%, Korean markets almost 7%. All of the Asian peers have closed with massive gains, right? So, pehla point to ye tha that ceasefire happened. Second reason that backed our markets was the crude oil. Crude oil fell below $100. It's a big positive. Third reason, all of the global markets you see here on the screen, you see European markets, they are currently trading with 2%, 5%, 4.8%, massive rally over there. US futures as well, 2.65%. Good rally all across global markets, right? This was third reason why the markets have rallied. And the final reason, something which is related to the Indian markets and something which is backing the entire market to rally. It's like forcing the entire market to rally upwards. That thing is usually what people think, or maybe what we see in such rallies, like where the market has been in a downfall for more than a month, and then suddenly we see a breathing rally, a breather, where we see a good rally. Usually, in such cases, in such rare cases, I must say, usually only large cap companies move the market. Usually, maybe large cap may there would be IT stocks that would rally. Maybe it would be just banking stocks or consumer durables. Usually, only these some of the top sector large cap companies rally. But in today's market, almost all of the sectors, all of the categories, market capitalization of companies, everybody is rallying. Be it mid cap, small cap, micro cap, small cap, large cap, all of the companies are rallying. So we're seeing a broader participation in this rally, and again, another reason for this broader participation is a lot of good things have happened today. So today, apart from the ceasefire thing, we also had the RBI's monetary policy decision, right? That also came in line with the expectations. Repo rates were not increased; they were left as it is, and there were also commentary that came in from the RBI governor. That was something like he was focusing on strengthening things to do to strengthen the rupee, because rupee we had seen almost a life low of 97 rupees, 94, 95, 96, 97, and these were the levels we were seeing on rupee against dollars. So the commentary that came in, again, it was uh, at least it was good, positive for us that we are trying to bring rupee under control, but everything else was as per the expectations, right? So that was also a big positive. Also, traders' favorite stocks, the Adani sector, the Adani stocks, be it Adani Enterprises, Ports, Greens. So one of the recent mergers or acquisitions of Adani was the ACC Cement. Now, they had a what should I say? A very unusual case in that acquisition with ACC, where the things went to court regarding some of the things around the acquisition. So until this date, until yesterday, things were not moving to court. Maybe they were looking to settle it, or maybe there were some talks going on between them. But now the date has come, and now they're going to have court hearings around that acquisition. So that is a big positive, because maybe after the court's acquisition, the ACC acquisition would be completed. So the trader's favorite stock, the Adani Group stock, is also ready to move. So all of these together, these 4 or 5 reasons were the key reasons, and the key what would I say? The key reasons which were pushing the markets up. So what's behind the rally? These 5 reasons.
Amazing, very in detail explanation, Arjit. Thank you so much for that. Now, moving forward, what are the major stocks that are in focus for tomorrow or this particular week?
Absolutely. Let's get into stocks. So, a couple of stocks that we had talked about earlier in our previous sessions, all across the mark. So, we had talked about HDFC Bank. Well, our first target is hit already in HDFC Bank. We had seen grow as well. Right. So all of the targets, both we had 2 targets for Grow. We had recognized it somewhere here after the fall, and we are seeing both the targets in Grow are hit as well. We had talked about Mahindra and Mahindra. We are seeing first target is hit in Mahindra once again. The previous target was hit earlier around 18th of March, and now again we are near that level again. One more stock, Sirma SGS Technologies, which is an IT company. It is close to its first target, but I'm sure in the upcoming sessions, if this rally continues, we'll see these 2 levels coming in the upcoming weeks as well. So these were some of the stocks that we discussed earlier, and I believe Sirma is one stock that we have to follow. Sirma, along with a couple of capital market stocks, we can talk about Angel One here. Angel One, a massive rally. The reason behind why we're talking about Angel One right now is its quarterly results are due. Like almost all the companies' quarterly results are due now. It's April now. So the results are expected to be very good and very positive for Angel One, given that like the entire capital markets theme now it's moving from the futures and options to more towards equity, because the STT has been raised in futures and options. So all of the traders who used to trade futures and options are now moving towards equity, which will be a big positive for all the capital market stocks, especially for Angel One and Bombay Stock Exchange. Bombay Stock Exchange has already moved a lot, and it's almost it's really a very volatile stock. So we won't talk about BSE, but Angel One is an interesting stock, and the technicals are also very nice, and it has been around recommended list on Zdvisors as well. So yeah, definitely Angel One is one stock that you should watch in the upcoming days.
Amazing. And in the following weeks, we'll be covering more about the stocks whose results are will be out. And also, one other doubt that I had, especially with Nifty, we saw a massive gap up today. And what do you see the course of Nifty going forward? Do you think the gap will be covered, or will it be covered after after some time?
Okay, so there are 2 ways to go about this. First is you look
Mhm.
at the open interest or on this tool in the option chain, and you really try to figure out, will the market sustain this gap up, or will the gap which has been created, it's a 3% gap, it's a huge gap. So will this gap be covered, or will we just continue rallying because we are all tired of the negative move now? So the first point of view for this is, if you look at the change in OI here, the put change here is almost 1 lakh share. 1 lakh contracts are open in put. So new contracts that have been added for put side on Nifty, that is more than 1042.12 lakh contracts. In front of it, if you see the change in call OI, that is barely 800 lakh shares. So, which means the change in OI for put is more. So, people are selling more of their put options. Selling put options means there's fresh long build up. There's people are dropping off their long positions. They want the markets to rally up, right? So if there is more put selling, which means that the market might rally. So this is the first way to look at it. That put OI ज़्यादा है, मतलब markets will carry on like rallying, and maybe आज 3% है, तो maybe tomorrow the markets would be up say 0.5% or maybe another 1%. We don't know about that yet. But this indicates, this change in put OI tells you that okay, there's a chance that the markets might rally. On the other hand, if you see the OI built up here, if you dive into detail into the option chain analysis, you see that from the current strike price, current spot is 24,000 and the futures price is 20, barely around 24,100. So if you see 24,100 and going forward 24,200, 150, 250, 300, there's a strong long build up in all of these call options, which means people are aggressively buying the call, which means they want the markets to go up. On the contrary, if you see all of these in the money put options, there is already long unwinding here. So long unwinding in the money options, and at the money and out of the money, we are seeing already there's a strong long build up. So here, this is again a good rally, that good indication that the rally might continue from here. So what we see based on the option chain and open interest, we are seeing that the rally might continue, right? So this is first way to look at it. The other way to look at it from technicals perspective, if you look at Nifty's chart, you're seeing 24,000 pe to already we are sitting right now. The next level from here on the upside is 23,100, and then we straight out we have 25,000. Now, markets are not so strong that we would reach 25,000 in this week or maybe in the next week. The ceasefire is just for 2 weeks. It's not a permanent ceasefire. So the risk is still there that the war might start once again, and maybe this time it would take even more serious turn within the first week of continuation, right? So 25,000, it cannot be ruled out completely. It's just 1,000 points from here, but the chances of reaching 25,000 is, I feel like it's not possible in this, at least in this ceasefire session. So what levels will we mark from here? First is 24,300. That is our immediate resistance, right? So agar upar gaya, so we can see maybe 24,300 in the upcoming sessions. But I strongly feel that there will be a little pullback from here, because 3% rally, there have been days and months that we have seen 3% rally in the markets. So this rally, maybe it would or it would not sustain, but a little pullback from here from 24,000 level, it's a psychologically very, very strong level. So seeing a pullback from here at least for 23,800 or in the range of 23,800 to 23,500, this 350 point range, this is very important. We'll have to touch this once, because there's multiple gaps already behind. So we need to cover those gaps as well, right? So this range is very important, 23,850 to 23,500. This 350 point range is something which we have to look out for on the downside, and upside we already have 24,300. So technically, once again we are exactly in the middle. We might fall or we might not fall, but if you look at the open interest and we look at the option chain, you would certainly see that the markets might continue the rally from here.
Got it. Arjit, that was very rationally explained. Now, before we wind up for today, do you have anything else to add?
Yes, there's one important thing which I think most of the option chain investors, people who like option traders, people who look at option chain to maybe trade Nifty, Bank Nifty, there's one important concept for them, which I feel like not a lot of people know about it. So I think I'd like to tell it for all of the users so even they can get to know it and they can use it in their trading journey. There's something called as the PCR. We've talked about it earlier, the put call ratio. Put call ratio tells you ki right now, as of now, while we're talking in the market, how many open contracts and put are there and how many call side there are open contracts. And we divide that number and we get a ratio. Now, if that ratio is 0.5, this indicates that the markets are ready for an up move, right? And if we have the number at 1.5 or closer to 1.5, we see that the markets are now in the overbought condition and now markets should come down, right? This is the most basic thing that you have to know. Now, the smartest way to implement this is not just by looking at every strike, like looking at the entire market's PCR. The smarter way is look at individual strike price. On individual strike, you will be able to see individual PCR. That will tell you
Yes,
which direction will the market go from this particular strike price. As an example, I've opened the my analytical tool here. Right now, the current strike is 24,100, right? Because right now, markets futures is trading around 24,087. उसी पे क्लोज हुआ है तो राइट नाउ द एट द मनी स्ट्राइक इज 24,100. If I just hover here on 24,100, I'll see that the PCR is 0.31. I'm not sure if that is visible. It's very small font, but I'll dictate it. So PCR is 0.31 at the on the at the money strike, 24,100. Now we know that if this level is near zero point 0.5 or below zero point 0.5, we'll see a huge rally in that particular scene. The 24,100 pay, if the PCR is zero point 0.5 or below zero point 0.5, we'll see a huge rally from this current strike price. So what we can do to cover this, we can either sell the put option because अगर market ऊपर जाएगा तो put prices will crash. So one way to make money out of this is sell that particular put option. तो जितना price गिरेगा उस put option का उतना you will earn money. The other way to trade this is you buy that call option, which is the safest way to do that. Just buy the call option, market बढ़ेगा, वो strike price cross करेगा तो automatically call option का price बढ़ जाएगा. So this is one of the smart ways that I think option buyer and option traders can make money from markets. If I just hover around other strike prices as well, you see in the money, out of the money, we'll see both the sides. You'll see change in PCR on every level. 24,100, it is 0.31. If you look at 24,200, it is 0.12. If you look at 24,400, it is 0.08. So this is indicating from the option chain we can see that market is ready for a fresh rally towards the upside. Maybe 24,300 would come in the upcoming sessions, or maybe 24,500 maybe will enter that range between 24,300 25,000. We nobody knows which way will the market go or which level exactly will the market go, but we can see a good direction and we can analyze ki which direction might the market go.
this was awesome. So very insightful. In fact, the PCR looking at the individual strike prices will give more clarity, I believe.
Absolutely. Looking at individual strike prices
Correct.
will give you a good insight around which way will the market go. If you go to a downside 23,400, we're already seeing PCR is 4.8. 4.8 मतलब अगर ये इस level का at 23,400, your put option will not spike at all. 4.8 मतलब the entire the call put both of them should fall. So this way you can choose which strike price to choose to trade, and you can see which way will that particular strike price call or put option might go. So it's a very one of the very smart ways to trade option chain, and 90% of option traders they do not know about this. So this is one thing which if you implement in your daily trading, you might actually start making money and become that 10% of crowd that actually makes money from option trading.
Amazing, amazing, Arjit. Thank you so much. This was really, really insightful. I hope more viewers see this and implement in their trading. So thank you so much. And in fact, for the next following week, we are more excited for the result season.
Absolutely, the result season is on. You've seen a lot of companies giving very good results. TCS, I believe, is like they are presenting the results. I believe tomorrow, and there are a lot of companies that are giving in massive and awesome results, especially IT companies, because IT companies, we are already talked about this in the first week of March as well, that these IT companies, something is going wrong with them, especially with the Anthropic AI stuff. So now that they're coming up with good quarterly results, and after this massive fall that we've seen in the market in the past 1 month, the valuations have corrected very well. So even if the results are maybe slightly good, that will impact their stock prices like anything. So I believe the result season we have to track IT stocks and banking stocks, especially in this particular month, in the month of April, until the result season gets over.
Got it. Got it. Perfect. So let's wind up here. Thank you so much. Let's reconnect at 4 p.m. exactly tomorrow as well. Thank you
Absolutely.
so much.
Let's connect tomorrow at 4 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.